It's another hump day, and I'm back on the microphone because they haven't silenced me yet. Oh, my goodness. There's a whole bunch of shit to talk about tonight, so we better get right after it. I'm going to get Dave grabbed up and brought in here. Charlie said he'll be on in the second hour, possibly, so I'm looking forward to that one. Oh, come on, Davey. Answer that phone, man. Answer. David, come on. There he is, right there. What's up, Mr. F-Town Baller?
Hey, what's up, Jim?
How you doing tonight, brother?
Oh, pretty good.
I get Lance Musser added in here, and I'm supposed to try to get a hold of Prepper Chicks because she's on her drive back home. Okay, got those two added in, and they're ringing up. There's Lance right there, right off the bat. Boy, didn't even have to bitch about him. What's up, Lance?
What up? What up? What up?
You still getting rained on? You getting rained on yet, man?
There was a... What's up, Dave? There was a tropical storm that we got hit with yesterday, all day yesterday. I mean, horrible winds, 40-mile-an-hour winds, everything else.
Yeah, it'd been circling off the coast the whole time everybody was bitching about Harvey.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I watched nothing but the Weather Channel since last Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I spent a lot of time watching it. Monday morning, I'm watching the local news, and they're talking about this fucking tropical cyclone off of the Outer Banks, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? Yeah. Missed it. Nobody was talking about it other than local people.
Well, you got more rain coming your way, right? Harvey's supposed to. Harvey's supposed to cruise up through the Midwest a little bit and dump shit on Tennessee and Kentucky and Indiana, and then we'll work its way over to the East Coast. And then in about 10 more days, there's another tropical system that just came off of the coast of
Africa.
Yeah, and it's already a tropical storm with 50-plus mile-an-hour winds, and it's got really good formation to it. It looks like it might be a monster by the time it makes it over here. And they don't know if
that one's going to hit Arkansas.
They don't.
Or North Dakota. That was going to hit North Dakota.
Well, according to some of them,
we just get the blizzards. So
that's right.
According to some of the maps that I've been looking at on posts from CNN and Fox News and stuff, they got Arkansas and Missouri mixed up. They got Alabama and Mississippi mixed up. They don't know what the fuck's going on or where states are. It's laughable, man. It's laughable. But anyway, I digress.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so carrying on with all the carrying on. Hang on a second. Somebody sent me some shit here on Skype. Hi, Lori.
Is Lori on the phone?
Yes.
Hello.
Are you driving?
No, I'm actually home.
Oh, wow, you made it fast.
I didn't go.
Oh, well, okay then. We won't talk about that then.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll just throw it right over to Dave. What do you got on top of your stack of stuff, man? You want to talk about Harvey off the bat, or you want to talk about something else?
Yeah, let's talk about that. I put out a post yesterday. It was my own opinion of just things. A lot of us are pretty intelligent people when it comes to this new stuff. And I wrote a post before any of this came out. I said, the first thing you're going to start seeing looting, and which is starting to happen now. You're going to have curfew, which they announced 4 or 5 hours after I'd already put my post out, right, after I put my post out. They're bringing in massive amounts of military now. 700 Marines are coming in now. They're sending 2 Navy warships off the coast with Hueys, with Ospreys, with fucking everything. Your biggest... I said your gas prices are going to be, are astronomical. The largest refinery in America, owned by Saudi Arabia, is completely underwater right now in Port Arthur. Completely underwater. They shut it down indefinitely. 2 other oil companies come out today. They're cutting their main pipelines to the whole Northeast of fuel and diesel fuel, cutting it completely off. People, you need to be ready, because I put out a story that came out last year, a couple days ago, in my group, and it's talking about Houston and the perfect storm.
Yep.
And it says that if there's ever a storm to hit Houston, it's going to be devastating to America's economy. It's going to be the nail in the coffin. And I firmly believe, and you might call me a conspiracy, I think that this was a geoengineered storm. As fast as it developed, as long as it hung over certain areas. I believe this was done on purpose. Who did it? I don't know, but it was done. And you could say maybe global warming, that storms are just getting more intense and more violent. I mean, if you look at India, what just happened, they had a monsoon that just killed 1,000 people today.
1,200.
Another country just had a huge ass flood too over in Africa that just wiped out all kinds of people. And so maybe there is, you could say, well, maybe global warming, it's real to the extent where we've had these storms since the beginning of time, but they're becoming more intense. But I believe that this was geoengineered. I really do. I believe Mark was turned on, and they nailed Houston, because I look at it this way.
If you look at the way that storm moved.
The biggest city, New York City, they're not going to hit that place. They hit that with 9/11. They're not going to hit that with a hurricane. For one, the water's too cold up there to maintain a hurricane as long as this one maintained. The second biggest city, Los Angeles, you don't have hurricanes there. If they want to start something there, they'll cause a massive earthquake there. Chicago's inland, of course. That's not going to happen. So the fourth biggest city, Houston, Texas, the oil capital of this fucking country, and they hit it. And they're this country, you're going to be paying all kinds of money for a gallon of gas coming up here. We haven't seen nothing yet.
They're expecting $8.50 a gallon.
It's going to go up, way up, way up. And like I said, with this main refinery being underwater, plus I put out a story today where Texas turned off all their chemical alarms for emissions in the air from all these facilities. You got that one plant that's fixing to blow up. The owner said it is going to blow up. They said it's imminent. They said within 6 days this thing's going down. And they said there's no way to stop this. Galveston Island has a facility there not too many people know about. It handles some of the most infectious biodiseases in the world there. Oh, yeah. It's underwater right now. And I'm talking stuff that's worse than the plague is handled there. And you're not hearing a word about it because they're not going to tell you this. It's underwater, and so they're worried that this one place has been trying to call them, and all they're getting is a message board from them, and no one's calling them back. This is going to be devastating. I feel for the people of Texas. I grew up in Texas. Texas is my home, even though I've been away for 29 years. I love that state. And I wish I could be there to help out. I really would. You're seeing the best of humanity there right now, but you're going to see the worst of humanity once this water all goes down and people start looting like you wouldn't believe. Right now you're seeing people pull together, but it's going to get bad. It's going to go completely 360.
There's already guys standing out in parking lots with shotguns protecting their businesses and stuff because the cops aren't anywhere to be found because they're too busy trying to rescue people. I want to throw a great big heap of responsibility on the mayor of that fucking city that told nobody to evacuate. It can go so many different ways. I don't know, man. What we're watching happen in front of our faces is one of the most horrific events that this country has ever seen, and there are still slags online saying that they deserve it.
And it's the most costliest, too. This is going to be probably up toward $1 trillion.
Oh, yeah.
Well, can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
I'm back and forth with the whole mayor issue. I understand what the mayor did. I understand what the governor did. I also know that Houston is huge. And to put 6 million people on the road that are going to run out of gas, have no lodging, have no food.
They had days of advanced warning.
It's going to take longer than days to get 6 million people out of there. I'm sorry.
They had.
I'm not 100% sure he made the right choice. I'm not 100% sure he made the wrong choice. I'm just saying that was a gamble. And it's going to take longer than a couple days to get those people out of there.
The governor was calling for them to evacuate for 4 days before the thing ever made landfall.
I don't know. I'm not sure I would have made a different choice.
I wouldn't have told them to stay in their houses. I'd have said, it's up to you. If you want to get out of the way of this huge fucking storm that's coming, be my guest.
Well, does somebody really have to tell you that?
The governor is not responsible.
And that's the problem with us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not with us. I mean, with the population in general. Why do we fucking wait around for people to tell us what to do?
And then when they do finally get rescued from standing on their rooftops, they want to blame everybody else.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah.
I do know one thing. In Katrina, they ordered an evacuation. That's how the majority of your people died there, was being on the road. And this is what kept the death count down so low so far. Now they're going to find bodies in attics and stuff. That's going to happen.
Cars they already have.
The death count that Katrina had, you know, and like I said, the reason why Katrina had such a high death count is they did order evacuation and people got stranded on the highways when that son of a bitch came in. And so this mayor was in a tough decision, man. And it's hard when you've got 6.5
They ordered
people
evacuations.
in the surrounding area.
They ordered evacuations in New Orleans after the storm had already hit and started fucking shit up. That's what I'm saying. These people had advanced warning
that no one really learned from.
Look, man, this is 2017, people. This is 2017.
Yeah, but
all
Jimmy,
these people that are texting for help.
It was going to turn into.
All these people that are texting for help from their rooftops could have just as easily looked at a fucking map a couple of days ago before the storm got there and said, hey, we better get out.
Well, this is on them.
On Thursday, it was a tropical storm.
Yeah, that's why I said it was geoengineered, because it went from maybe a Category 1, they said, there's a slight chance this could be a Category 1, to, oh, fuck, we got a Category 4,
right.
and
when this storm...
Rockport's getting fucking destroyed.
Hang on a second. I want to say something about this, okay? When this storm was still rolling off the Yucatan Peninsula and they knew that it was headed for Texas, they said that it was going to drop copious amounts of rain, whether it became a hurricane or not.
But not to this extent. I mean, nobody knew it was going to drop this much.
No,
nobody.
This is like an all-time record for it for
800 years.
I'm still saying it was
that's what Lori, I agree with Lori said. If people are dependent on the government to tell them to leave a situation, that's on them. Yeah, I don't need the government to tell me to fucking leave somewhere. If I got the internet and I got a phone and I can look at a weather map, I can make a decision without fucking Trump telling me to get the hell out of Dodge.
The thing that I'm trying to get across to everybody is that the depth of stupidity of the human race in this country is palpable.
It's sheep mentality.
Exactly.
They send their kids to school in ice storms, knowing there's let's take this storm and set it aside. A couple years ago, we knew there was an ice storm of epic proportions that was going to hit the South. There was no way around that one. They were saying, hey, this is going to be bad. I mean, this is going to be really bad. People fucking sent their kids to school anyways, and they got stranded for days.
Yeah, Matt
brought
that's
up the same up here with blizzards. They won't close the school up here unless there's they don't close the schools. I got stranded last year taking my kid across town, and I told my son this year, I said that ain't gonna happen again.
And I think we get so much information from so many different places that people just they don't know who to believe. Some people might say, I know in the chat room, it says some weathermen said it could be a 2 or 3. Some said 3 feet away. Others said it was just going to be a tropical storm. And the last 6 storms, they overprojected it. Now these people are like, well, it's not going to be as bad as they say. They just overdo it so that way they scare us and we leave.
Well, that's it. Houston has dodged many a storm when people have been told, and so people just got complacent and said, well, all these other storms missed us, this one will too.
Or it wasn't as bad, or,
Hang on a second. Welcome back to the show, Vaughn. I'd like to let you add into this conversation. I hear you back there.
Okay, I'm going to give this a try. If this storm was manipulated and controlled and engineered, how in the hell can we blame the fucking victims for any damn thing? Because if the government was behind this to control and drive and destroy Houston and Texas, that's the information I'm getting right now from Texans, that their intentions are to shut down the refinery and drive prices of gas up. I mean, it's right in your damn face, but yet we're going to beat up the damn victims.
It's also here. Let me
there, drowning and everything else. Where the hell was millions of people supposed to go?
Let me add into that.
Pack your family up and try to run into Oklahoma or somewhere else. It just wouldn't happen.
Let me add into that for just a second. Everybody's crying about Houston. There are 56 different counties in the state of Texas that are affected by floodwaters because of this storm. The extent of damage is well outside of Houston. It's down past Victoria, okay?
Oh, yeah.
If you add up the entire number of people that are affected by this, it's 11.5 million people, which is almost half the population of the state. So
So where are they
It's
going
a
to go?
lot more than
Like
just
Bernie
Houston.
said, where are they going to go?
That's what I'm saying. And now after the fact is, where are they going to stay? Because there are upwards of 800,000 homes they're expecting to be completely uninhabitable.
Well, that's what we were saying, though. You're saying that they should have left, but where the hell would they go anyways? There isn't no place. There's no way that we could handle this. This is one of those shit hit the fan.
Then just stay and drown?
You're fucking doomed.
Stay and drown? I mean, where are they going to go now? Just stay and drown? They had the opportunity to get in touch with family or friends that lived elsewhere and ride it out. I know several people. How
many illegal immigrants are in Houston? 400,000.
Several people that I know that are on Twitter, that I follow on Twitter and that I follow online in other social medias, have lived down around there, and they got out.
Oh.
So it's all personal responsibility, I reckon, if you want to bring it on down. But
I guess some people don't have the luxury, of escaping. There's a lot, just like the 9th Ward in New Orleans when that got flooded. All those poor people down there, and a lot of people don't have cars. A lot of people are working from check to check. A lot of people don't have relatives around, and sometimes you're stuck. I've been in that situation before. Like I need to get out, but I have nowhere to go.
The luxury of escape.
Well, there was that one retreat. It was the Red Cross. The people went to bed on dry floors. Within 20 minutes, there was water on the floor. When they woke up, the damn cots were just about underwater. So
yeah, that was in Port Arthur today.
Where are you going to go?
That was in Port Arthur today. But they should have known because the storm was moving that direction. That was just a no-brainer. You don't house people in the path of the storm.
I think they're putting people wherever right now.
Well, yeah.
Other than Joel Osteen's church.
The whoever engineered this disaster, which I completely believe that it's engineered also, if you look at the way the storm developed and how it curved and shit, it looks completely steered. Whoever engineered this disaster wanted another Katrina, and they're going to get it. Times 10.
Oh, yeah, the worst is yet to come.
Times
like
10.
I said, once these people aren't able to get, to get back, you got to figure these people. It's only 17% of these people had flood insurance. That's it, 17%, because a lot of areas have flooded, never flooded before.
Yeah.
And so your insurance aren't going to cover that. And so the deal is now is these poor people. Your house is fucked up. You're going to be put on a waiting list just to get an insurance adjuster out to your house. You're going to be put on a contractor list just to have someone come out and try to fucking do something with you if you can't do it yourself. Supplies are going to be off the fucking roof. There's going to be gouging up the ass. Like I said, the flood was bad, and the 20 people that have died so far, which is going to go a lot higher, is bad enough. But what's going to be worse is the aftermath here. Give it a couple weeks when people are desperate. You got to figure how many jobs did Houston just lose? Yeah. How many workers have just been displaced from that city?
It was a fucking shithole before. It was a shithole before this storm hit, man.
Yeah,
it's going to affect
the unemployment rate in Houston was just huge.
I got stories on that. Yeah. The deal is the worst part's coming. You've got the military moving in now, which I know they're right now they're helping, but they'll be put on. I've got friends down there right now that said it's going to get bad, and the looting's going to get off the charts. There's going to be murders, going to be rapes. There's going to be everything. A city of that size and the surrounding area, you're not going to be able to protect that. It's going to be every man for himself, man. Right. It's going to be like an Armageddon scenario there.
Watch and learn.
That's a true shit hit the fan. It's going to be one of our first cities under complete martial law, worse than Katrina. In Katrina, they confiscated guns.
Well, check this out. I think that the reason that they nailed this state, whoever nailed this state, is because at the end of last year, they completed the construction on their own gold depository in the state of Texas. And there were serious rumors running around that they were going to pull out of this mess of a country before the shit hit the fan. Everybody can see it coming. Everybody knows that it's getting ready to crash. They just don't know when they're going to pull the final rug out, right?
Well, like I said, economically, the story that came out in March of 2016 said if Houston was to go down, that would be the nail in America's coffin. And Obama, as much as I hated that cocksucker, said 2 years ago, he said, we're one 9/11 terrorist event away, or we're one natural Katrina-style disaster away from complete economic collapse.
Yep.
And I believe that. And so,
they got to blame it on something.
And let me tell you the gall of fucking Donald Trump here. Bitching, the whole time his campaign talking about his goddamn wall and Mexico's going to pay for it, which we know they're not now. and any Trump supporter that still believes that they are, or you're fucked in the head. He wants to, in this next budget bill coming up here in the next few weeks, when these senators and congressmen come back from their glorious vacations, he wants money in there for his goddamn wall. Mm-hmm. And they weren't going to give it to him anyway. And some were starting to think about it, but a lot of them weren't. But now that this disaster happened, he was going to cut $1 billion from FEMA here in the next couple of weeks to trim the budget. He was going to cut $1 billion from FEMA. And now this storm hit. He's like, all right, guys, here's what I still want my wall, and I'm not, and we need money for Houston now. And they're told Trump, dude, one, we're not going to pay for your wall, but if we were, here's your decision. It's either money for your goddamn wall or money to rebuild fucking Houston, Texas, and the surrounding areas. And this motherfucker is still going around saying he wants his goddamn wall and he wants his money in this spending bill coming up. And they're like, dude, we don't got it. What don't you fucking understand? You can't have your wall. You can't rebuild Houston at the same fucking time.
They can't rebuild Houston either. We don't got the money to do that either. This country is
too fucking broke. And this is what this dude, but he's still got the balls to say this, that he wants his fucking wall money in this fucking budget bill. It's like, dude, we just lost the fourth biggest city in America. What nerve do you have to sit here and say, we need to pay for your fucking wall that you said Mexico was paying for, which they're not.
They're going to build that wall. They're going to build that wall, dude. But it's not going to be to keep everybody out. It's going to be to keep us in when everybody in this country tries to make a break for it. They're going to build that wall.
They're going to have to make a decision, because if you look, we're fixing to hit $20 trillion in debt here in the next couple of days.
We're way past that already.
They're going to raise the debt ceiling, which I guess what the fuck's the
matter? I don't think they will,
dude. The deal is, right now, there's no money for a fucking wall, and there's no money to rebuild Texas. There's no money for either one of them.
From the articles that I'm reading and what I'm seeing online, I don't know if they're going to raise the debt ceiling or not.
Well, then you got Trump saying, well, I'll shut the fucking government down if you don't give me no money for a wall.
Let him do it.
I'm like, really, dude? You just lost the fourth biggest city in America.
Anyway.
And you're sitting here running your goddamn mouth about shutting down the government because of money that we don't have anyway?
How about we keep all that money we give to other countries?
That would work too. How about, we get out of Afghanistan.
Let's cut off Saudi Arabia.
More troops.
Let's cut off Israel for a couple of years and spend that money back here at home. I
agree.
The whole point is the dude's off the fucking rocker with this goddamn wall, and he needs to realize our fourth biggest city in this country just got obliterated.
Right.
And people just lost every fucking thing, and this dude is still, and the dude gave a speech yesterday, over there in fucking Corpus Christi. And he had to throw in there, look at the size of this crowd. This crowd's wonderful. It's like, dude, fuck the size of the crowd. You people just lost their lives and lost their livelihoods in their fucking houses, and you're sitting here talking about how big the goddamn crowd is.
That's his ego. He wants them all to cheer for him. That's his big fucking ego. How much did it cost the country for him to fly his fucking ass down there with his planes and all his helicopters and shit and all the fucking people that he drags around with him every goddamn place he goes? How much did that cost us? For him to go down there and make a little fly around and then go to another Trump rally where he's trying to raise money for his next fucking election. How much did that cost all of us? Now he's sending Pence down here in the next couple of days, came out tonight. He's ordering Pence and his wife to go down there, too, on the taxpayers' dime. How much is that going to cost?
I don't know. They just need to stay the fuck out of the way,
You couldn't take some fucking video? You couldn't take some video and send it to him over your iPhone, motherfucker?
Even George Bush flew over Katrina. He didn't stop and land. He didn't get out and give a huge fucking speech there. He did for 9/11, I will say that. But when Katrina hit, he flew over it. He didn't stop and fucking land.
I saw a bunch of posts online, too, about Obama being down there handing out meals and shit. That motherfucker ain't nowhere near Texas. He's face down in a pillow somewhere getting his ass full of donut.
All I know is this is going to come back, and what people need to understand, it ain't just going to be higher fuel prices. It's going to be higher petroleum prices. Petroleum goes in almost everything these days. I
higher food prices
just
too.
A while ago here from
Financial
Times.
Seafood comes out of the Gulf. You know how much seafood comes out of the Gulf? How bad that industry's been hit with all the boats getting wrecked up and shit. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Keep going. I'm sorry. I just had to throw that in too.
Well, no, and the deal is people need to realize this just ain't going to affect your gas tank. This is going to affect every single thing made with petroleum, which is a lot of fucking shit.
Sorry.
This one story came out tonight from the Washington Times, and it says Harvey will harm energy markets across the globe, experts say. Mm-hmm. And it says as Texas and Louisiana face the final flurry of punches from Harvey on Wednesday, a second wave of pain is headed for the nation's energy markets in what analysts say will be a disruption that reaches around the world. It says early indications, including the price of gasoline futures, are that prices at the pump are headed for a major spike. And it says with much of the Gulf Coast oil infrastructure responsible for the lion's share of the nation's oil refining capacity still inoperable, energy market analysts say it'll be weeks, perhaps even months, before things return to normal. It says, but even when production returns to regular levels, Harvey's aftershocks will continue to rumble throughout the global energy industry. It says this is impacting the whole world. It says there's so much more in getting back to normal than I think anyone understands. No, and that's why I think this was a geoengineered storm. That one, this is going to fuck us up big time, man, and two, it's going to fuck up a lot of other places too.
Well, Louisiana's about to go down. They're going to lose the Mississippi route out to the Gulf. I mean, all this shit is bad.
I thought we already lost Mississippi. It's been like erased from half the maps I've seen lately.
Yeah, don't get me going on the maps, man. That shit's unbelievable, man. When I saw them mix up Mississippi and Alabama, I was like, "What the fuck?" And Arkansas, Missouri was where Arkansas was supposed to be. Arkansas was nowhere on the fucking map. I was like, "Wow, I guess we just got blowed the fuck away from Harvey. He just blew Arkansas completely off the map and put Missouri back in its place, and it was just ridiculous, man." They should be ashamed of themselves. How stupid
response that this country's ever had to any event in this country in history.
And they were about 4 days late, man. There's been civilians out there rescuing each other.
Yeah.
The people have been rescuing each other for days and days and days, and the fucking National Guard's just now showing up, and they want to make a big deal of it on Twitter. There's 14,000 of them coming down. Yeah. Nobody paid attention to how many troops they said were in Afghanistan today, right? It's like 2,000 more than they're supposed to be.
Yeah. You know, and the deal is the military, you're going to get checkpoints in Houston. You're going to get all that. You're going to get military patrols in Houston.
FEMA's foothold. This is the federal government's foothold in the state of Texas now. They said that they even already stated that they were going to be there for years.
Maybe the succession talk actually finally got someone mad in the government.
Yeah. Until somebody tells them to get the fuck out, they're going to stay right there.
Well, Abbott's a Trump ass kisser, so... he loves Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And the deal is you're going to have checkpoints go up now. You're going to have military patrols there not for months, man.
Yeah,
for
curfew. There's going to be curfew for,
Yeah. I mean, they did it in Katrina. I will say that much. They brought in the guard of Katrina, but this is going to be a lot longer and a lot widespread.
They're going to be going through all these flooded houses, and they're going to be doing their little checks to make sure everything's safe before they let anybody back in. And that's going through and picking up everybody's guns and ammunition and whatever else they can get their fucking hands on.
I read a story today. You know, right now they're deploying 10, the 14 are coming into 24 altogether. But they said that there is call in some places where there could be up to 100,000 for this is said and done of military in Houston and surrounding areas.
Occupation.
And you got to look at, Orange, Texas just got fucking flooded. Port Arthur's completely underwater where you
knew
the
that was
largest
coming, though.
oil refinery is.
Everybody knew that was
place
coming.
Got hit hard.
Everybody, and the Gulf of Galveston, Galveston Bay and all that, everybody knew that was coming because of how low that shit is, man. All those refineries, they knew that shit was coming. That's what I'm saying. 4 days ago, 4 days before this thing made landfall, they should have been making preparations to shut down.
Yep. You got that one plant getting ready to blow now because the refrigeration it lost and everything's going to become unstable.
And there are people that worked at that plant that are tweeting that exact thing out. If we'd have been prepping for this days ago, this wouldn't have happened. They could have made preparations. They could have mixed other chemicals in with the chemicals that are getting ready to go ballistic and made it all inert. They would have lost that batch, but it still would have been better than what's coming because the explosions that are coming, they said there are going to be very, very volatile.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be several plants exploding, I think.
They said that they evacuated everybody within 3 miles of this plant that they're tweeting about right now that's going to go up, like no question about it. It's going to explode sooner or later it's going to explode. They evacuated everybody within 3 miles because they know that the fireball is going to be fucking enormous.
Well, the nuclear power plant, how about the nuclear power plant? It's a dire strait right now.
There's two. There was two. There's one down south of Victoria that's been flooded out that nobody's talking about. That's the South Texas Power Station or something like that. And then there's another one that's just south of Houston, west of Houston a little ways. And it's been flooded out too. So nobody's talking about either of those. I haven't seen anything on RSOE about anything leaking or nothing. So, but then again, they're shutting down all the radiation alarms and all the poison control alarms and stuff around the plants. So, I mean, we could have another Fukushima.
All that water those people have been wading in has just been contaminated, man.
We could have another Fukushima, though. I mean, by the time this is all said and done,
I think so too.
Are the generators still running that are keeping the cooling ponds cool? Or is the water still circulating around the reactors? I don't know. Nobody said anything.
This just came out just now. This federal judge is just now breaking. Federal judge blocks Texas from enforcing its ban on sanctuary cities.
Jesus Christ. They just passed some kind of law not too long ago, too, that's going to take effect Friday about insurance claims and how they're filed and how they get paid out and blah, blah. So everybody that's underwater right now, I've seen a bunch of posts and a bunch of articles. They're telling them, file your claim before Friday because of this new law. They ought to make that new law null and void until after all this is said and done, too, but I know they're not going to. Because they don't do what's right? They just do what they're told to do. All I can do is shake my head, man. I watched this whole hurricane from the time it made landfall all the way through. I've had the Weather Channel on almost every day and watching it and just watching it and just watching it. And I'm like, are you fucking people serious? I mean, they gave warnings about levees overtopping and people should get out of their homes and blah. And they're just sitting on the front lawns watching the rain fall out of the sky. Oh, wow, it's flooding. It just makes me sad.
Some of them were asked if they wanted rescue, and they said, no, we're going to wait it out. Yeah, once you wait it out and see just how far you can swim, dumbass, because that's what's happening to them.
A couple of people that they told the police, the rescuers, they were like, no, it's cool, we're okay, we're going to, we got food and water and blah, and they're like, you have no power now. If it had been 2 days ago, I'd have said, okay, but you guys don't have any power now. There's no flowing water. We have to take you off that roof. We have to.
Well, there's no gas. Right now, there's no gas in Waco. Okay, and a lot of these places don't have any gas because it's all fucking gone. The food is gone. They're talking about getting food to feed the damn police department and that from other states. I mean, this is going to go fucking helter-skelter. There ain't no trucks coming in to speak of.
Yeah.
The northern part of the state, but not into the places been hit. Places.
The Cajun Navy came over to try to start rescuing people a couple of days ago. And people started shooting at them. I mean,
water treatment plant in Southeast Houston is completely flooded right now. That's completely under. And the McDonald's made an announcement they're going to give free food to all the first responders all the way till September 5th.
Tinfoil Hatter said Sorcha Falls said the Russians did it. Sorcha Falls not even a real person, and that's somebody's pseudonym. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Okay. Needing a reason to collapse the economy, Joanna said, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, if they don't blame the economic collapse on Harvey, what are they going to blame it on now? Because they can't get.
Now they got.
We start a war.
They can't get little Kim.
You got a choice.
Well, they can't get little Kim to shoot a nuke at us. They just can't get him to do it. They've been poking him and poking him and poking him. They've been poking China. They've been poking Russia. They can't get him to start the fucking war. Because the U.S. doesn't want to start it. We just want to go in for regime change when we can.
Yeah, little Kim won't throw a punch, and we know it, man. He's staying right on the edge of it.
Because the Chinese are right there in his back pocket going, don't fall for it, man. Don't fall for it.
Yep.
We're giving you this nuclear technology. We're going to help you build a missile. We're going to help you build reactors if you need to build reactors. Don't fall for the U.S. Just let them hang themselves. They're hanging themselves. And look at us. We're hanging ourselves. People can't even stop their fucking Antifa right-wing bitching back and forth for 5 fucking days to go help Houston, to go help South Texas. They just can't stop.
In Houston right now, I've seen some beautiful videos coming out of people forming human chains to pull dogs out.
Absolutely,
and people
man.
out
But you can
You know,
also
but it
see
ain't gonna, it
you
ain't
can
gonna
also
last,
see all the
you know.
trolls in
Once
there,
this
man.
goes a couple weeks, people are going to be shooting each other there.
Well, but it's not just that. I mean, even right now, you see the trolls out there talking and just keeping the fucking edge going. You know, they just won't let it lie. They won't let it lie. Nobody's bitching at who they need to be bitching at. You know, the people that are running everything got us fighting each other when we should be fighting them instead. It's just ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, it's just like I said, you've seen some great things come out of there with humans helping humans. Blacks, Mexicans, whites, all helping each other and stuff. But like I said, give it a couple weeks there in Houston, they're all going to be shooting each other.
Yeah.
Well, the thieving that went on was about the stupidest thing. I can understand if somebody's family's starving, it's been 4 days, and you got to get food, you go in and get some food. But to go in there, just like Katrina, and go get electrical appliances or rob for money, come on.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you going to do with money? You need food. You can't eat the fucking money, dumbass.
Yeah. If you're looting for food to try to feed your family, I don't consider that looting. I consider that trying to survive. The food's all going to be ruined anyway because it's going to be underwater and left alone for days and days and days. So if they're taking food, I don't see anything wrong with that. If they're running out with fucking TVs and Xboxes and shit, that's looting.
Yeah, there was a video out last night of two black guys in this one store that was flooded, and they broke into the cash registers right on camera, stealing the money, putting it in their pockets.
I saw you post that.
What gets me, the only thing I question about that video is why didn't the store owner take the fucking money out of the cash register if his store was flooding like that?
Right.
That was the only thing that crossed my mind.
Well, there was some places
dude, you're stupid enough to leave all that money in there.
But there was some places
Maybe
in
it
that town
wasn't
that
there.
flooded in a matter of hours too. Though I mean, the water came up so fast that I imagine some of them were like, "Holy fuck, we better get out of here!" Forgot, you know what I mean? So.
Well, people got to realize if been watching these videos, some of them homes down there are $250,000 homes. They're absolutely beautiful. They're all driving brand new fucking cars. So we're not talking about the poor that are really getting zapped here. They had the money to get the fuck out, and they just ignored it.
Well, there's certain parts of town that are 4th and 5th and 6th ward are just completely slummed too. When you go from the center of downtown Houston, and this was 20 fucking years ago when I lived there, right? When you go from the center of downtown Houston south toward Galveston, it just gets poorer and poorer and poorer until you get close to the coast and people can afford some oceanfront property. And then you start seeing money again. And then you skip over to the island and then you see a lot of money. You know what I mean? But the south side of Houston has always been completely shithole, man. So there's a lot of those motherfuckers that got flooded out too that don't have insurance, that don't have never had insurance. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just all the shitholes over in Katy that can afford having horse ranches and whatever, or the people up around Spring Cypress that got a big bunch of money. There's all kinds of people that are devastated right now. And wait. Some of those rich motherfuckers that expect their insurance to pay out aren't going to get a dime because the insurance companies are going to go, we broke.
They ain't going to get no money. When I lived in Galveston and worked in the shipyard, there was only one way in and one way out unless you took the ferry or the causeway,
Right.
And to evacuate Galveston would have been a little difficult because there is a lot of poor people in Galveston and a lot of rich people. But like you say, in Houston, man, there's sections of Houston you don't even want to be in during the daytime, let alone the night.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's like the 9th Ward in New Orleans.
Right. They got the same shit over in South Houston, man. It went 4th, 5th, 6th Ward. That's where it really started getting poor.
If you look at New Orleans, they never did rebuild the 9th Ward. Those people are still living in fucking disaster 12 years later, man. The government didn't do shit for them.
There was a couple of exposés last year, and the people over in Gulfport, Mississippi are the same way. They just got forgot about. You know what I mean? There's FEMA trailer. People are still living in these shitty-ass FEMA trailers and stuff on their property with the ruins of their house all piled up by a bulldozer. But they don't have any money to have somebody come cart the shit off so they can start the rebuild. The insurance company hasn't been by to see them for fucking 10 years, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Those stories are all over the place.
Oh yeah, the Ninth Ward, man. You know the poor blacks over there, and the government didn't do shit for them. I mean, money wise, they rebuilt.
It's going to be the same right here in Houston,
Quarter and all those areas, but they didn't do shit for the poor.
It's going to be the same right here in Houston.
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
Yep. And you got to wonder. Well, I don't know, man. That was a ton of fucking rain, man, and they were getting it all from up north too. The reservoirs that they had over there in Katy that they, let top over. One of them topped over, even though they had the gates wide open and whatever. They could have been releasing that water a lot earlier than they started doing it. You know what I mean? But the river was already filling up from all the rain and stuff. I don't know, man. You can second guess shit forever, right?
You could, I mean, what happened, and it sucks, man. It sucks. All those people lost their everything. People don't realize, people, that haven't been through a disaster, that I got flooded here in Fargo back in 97, back when Grand Forks, North Dakota got hit in Fargo. We had the biggest snowfall that winter, 109 inches, and it all melted at one time.
Oh, man, I remember some horrific blizzards from when I was a kid, man. Go ahead.
And in Grand Forks, up here, one of our bigger cities. It's not as big as us, but it's about 45 minutes from the Canadian border. Flooded. I mean, completely. The Red River took over the whole fucking town. Fucking downtown was on fire. They couldn't get fire trucks in there to put out the fires. Hundreds of, thousands of people got displaced, and it was horrible here in Fargo. We got nailed. I was in an apartment at the time. I come home from work, and my neighbors had got into my apartment. They were throwing my shit on my bed because water was pouring in on the first floor of the apartment building, and I lost everything. And I was almost homeless after that, man.
Yeah, renter's insurance doesn't cover floods either. You got to add that shit. They make you pay for all that good insurance, man.
Well, I've never had renter's insurance in any apartment. When I was young and stupid in my 20s, so. I lost everything. So, and that sucks. But I mean, to be a poor family and to lose your house, lose your job, lose your cars, I just can't imagine, man. It just breaks my heart to see that, man. I mean, a lot of these people that got affected didn't have shit in the beginning. Now they got even less, and so people don't stop and think about it. And it really does suck, man. I just can't imagine. You're getting taken out of your house, put into these fucking detention fucking centers, basically what they are. With all this one lady got interviewed the other night, and she's a single mom with 2 kids, and she got to get out of her house.
The chick that was on CNN?
No, oh. and she got put on a boat, taken to this one relocation center, and she said it was absolute nightmare. She said there was psychotics running around, people yelling in their sleep, people, drug addicts running around. She says she woke up with her little girl and her other kid, and there was this old pervert staring at her little girl while they were sleeping. And she said it was just insane. And you feel for these people. You just got ripped out of your fucking house of how much it was, whether it was $60,000 house, $70,000 house.
And then you're
put into this room with thousands of fucking strangers.
And then you got Joel Osteen that won't even open his fucking church up until he's berated on Twitter. They had to fucking give him hell for 2 straight days before he'd open up his fucking church. That guy's just a loser from the word go, man. I can't stand that fuck.
No, I can't either, man. He's a cock.
But here's another factoid that I picked up just before the show because I knew we were going to be talking about Houston. There's 1,565 churches in the area that is affected by these floods, and only 62 of them, 62 out of over 1,500, have opened their doors to people and let them come in and fed them and house them during this incident so far.
I bet none of them are Catholic churches.
I don't know. And I don't know how many of them are synagogues or how many of them are mosques. Or
23 mosques opened up their doors before Joel Osteen opened up his.
Yeah. They just said that there was religious institutions is how they labeled it on the statistics that I was reading.
You will be known by your fruit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I never considered him a preacher anyway.
Yeah, no, he's an evangelist.
You know what? He's a man that needs to repent, is what he is.
Well, him and his fake-titted wife and everything else, and he's got like a $5 million mansion over there in Houston.
$10.2 million, actually, is how much his house is worth.
Whatever. It's ridiculous, and a man of God has to live that elaborate.
The church, there was a couple of people that actually took a camera and went there and Facebook lived from his parking lot because the signs on the front of it said closed due to flooding. And there wasn't even an inch of water in the parking lot. They could have got a bunch of people. And that place will hold 17,000 people in the auditorium. That's just the auditorium, not including all the office space and whatever else. But yeah.
Oh, I heard they couldn't get coded to have people there overnight because they didn't have
whatever.
the
This is
correct facilities and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, there's a fucking hurricane, people are dying. Come on, who's going to enforce code right now?
Right. I'm sure.
Well, what I want to know, where does all these people in shelters take showers at?
They don't.
Mm-mm.
Oh, good God.
Let's go out and
Not
get in the
for
rain mud puddle.
days.
You read the horror stories about Katrina and people being stuck in the dome and shit, and just the taking a shit right out in the open, and I mean, just
there were people getting raped out in the open in that.
Oh yeah,
getting raped.
Yeah, fuck all that. That's why. And then the people that tried to make the escape got shot to death on the fucking overpass by the police. You know, after what they were there for 5 or 6 days or something like that, they were like, "We got to get the fuck out of here. There is no food left. There is no fresh water left. Let's just run for it." So they tried to make a run for it across this overpass of about 10 of them or something, and the cops shot them.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that.
Well, they've already set up roadblocks and checkpoints. These people can't get out of it. They can't leave that area.
There's a lot of people trying to get help to them that can't get in either.
I know. Well,
it's got to be regulated.
If you guys are planning on building something or planning on buying some wood or
they did the exact same thing in Sandy. If you guys will remember back, they did the exact same thing in Sandy. They stopped people from helping each other and said, no, the federal government's here now. We'll take care of it.
Yep.
Watch what happens. The only way they're going to get FEMA out of that state now is for the governor to go, get the fuck out.
You know, you'll never know how many people will die either. We still don't know how many people died over there in Louisiana.
No.
We have no
there was
clue
no
how
final
many people died there in Sandy.
Yeah, there was no final death toll given for Katrina. There's an estimate. There's no final death toll given. That's what they wanted. They wanted another one. They got another one times 10.
Yeah, Soren, I disagree. We are a bunch of animals.
I will give a props up, though, to the Cajun Navy, man. Those guys are pretty cool. A bunch of duck hunters and everything else, man.
There's another storm coming in about 10 days. There's a tropical depression that's supposed to develop in the Gulf of Mexico over the next 5 days that might drop another 6 inches of rain on South Texas.
Well, they're going to get rain this weekend.
Yep.
Unbelievable, man. These guys
but it could. I'm not saying a hurricane, but this shit could happen to any of us. Any of us. At any given time.
Yeah, tornado.
Next thing will be a big earthquake in Los Angeles.
Tornado, or they want to tap a hole in Yellowstone. We talked about that last week. The dumbasses at NASA want to drill a hole in Yellowstone to relieve the pressure, like it's a boil.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine drilling a hole into Yellowstone and relieving the pressure? You'd blow the sky right out of it.
That's like popping a balloon, dumb fucks. Anyway,
look,
Lance, are you going to add into the show at all, man? Or are you sitting over there doing bong hits?
Oh no, I'm listening, man. It's a great conversation.
You got anything?
I mean, I'm right along with y'all. I'm just
you're catching a shit ton of rain right now. You're catching a shit ton of rain right now, or have caught a shit ton of rain over the last couple of days. What are your thoughts about the whole flooding situation and going on in Texas?
Awful. I mean, I'm with you on the fact that they were warned, because I watched the Weather Channel from Wednesday all the way up to the Friday.
Yep.
They said every 20 minutes that there was going to be 30 to 50 inches of rain. They were talking about it 2 days before.
Even if it didn't turn into a hurricane.
They should have said, if you're not going to evacuate, you better be prepared to shelter in place for 2 weeks.
Right. You better be prepared to float for 2 weeks.
Right. I mean, you better be prepared.
They were
not get rescued for 2 weeks, because we just won't have the manpower.
They
knew a minimum 2-3 days before it was going to do 50 inches in places.
Yeah. The Weather Channel was stating it on an hourly basis that they were expecting over 24 inches of rain in a 12-hour period.
It just kept going up. It started at 20 to 30 and just kept going up. But that was days before it hit.
Yep.
Well, I think it's Waco, a weather modification has been seeding the area all year. And they seeded the last time on the 24th of August, right before the storm. I put that document up, and if people don't believe they're not doing this shit, then fuck them.
There's a document out there that Jim Lee actually dropped on Facebook earlier today that was talking about the hurricane hunters actually dropping seed flares into the hurricane as it was already on land.
Yeah, that's what they're saying here too.
So yeah, it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. The way that thing got steered around and made the little loop-de-loop and went back out into the Gulf and then, come back on shore in Louisiana again. It's just the hurricanes. I've been watching hurricanes for my whole adult life, and I don't think I've ever seen one do a loop-de-loop like that. Not in that short of an area.
3 times.
Not in that short of an area. Sometimes they'll go several hundred miles and loop around and come back, but not in a little 20-mile area. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, they said it had landfall 3 times. That news reporter I put up there where they showed the flooding, and she said, this is the 3rd landfall, and I thought, son of a bitch. You tell me they didn't program this.
Joanna just put in a 1.5 mile radius around the Crosby plant's been evacuated due to risk of a Paladin pesticide explosion.
Yeah, that's that one plant.
Is that the one that's doing the peroxide thing or whatever?
Yeah, that's the one they said is going to blow up within 6 days.
Okay. So I thought it was 3 miles. I thought it was 3 miles that they evacuated around there because they knew that the fireball was going to be enormous.
What gets me is Houston, but people, the news kind of took the focus off towns like that Rockport that got fucking destroyed by that hurricane when it came in. Man, that place looked like a bomb went off.
Well, how close is that Crosby plant to the chemical refineries that are down around the bay? Because, the concussion from that explosion could do some serious damage to some of the pipelines and stuff that are in the area.
I think there's other plants that they don't even know about that could blow up,
Oh, absolutely, man.
Now, chemicals that say, do not mix with water.
Right. It's like a gremlin. Don't let them eat after midnight. Or get them wet. This is going to be horrific, man. We've been talking about it for an hour, though. Let's jump on to something else. What else you got on your stack of stuff as far as World War III shit goes? I know Little Kim shot the missile off over Japan. You want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, he shot that missile off over Japan. They said it was only half distance, that he could have gone even further than what it did. And, that was a shot across our bow that he could, he aimed it at the opposite direction of Guam, but the same distance, basically saying, I can do this if I want. I'll just turn the missile the other direction, and next time I will. But the deal is, he's going to keep doing these missile tests because, we're not going to do nothing.
Did you see the footage?
We're not going to do nothing. Japan's not going to do nothing. South Korea. What did South Korea do after he did this? They went and dropped some bombs on their bombing facility. And, Little Kim, look at us. We're so mad we're dropping bombs on our own testing facility.
But did you see the North Korean state video of the launch of the missile?
Yeah.
Okay. Explain something to me. What the fuck was holding that thing up?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Because when it takes off from the ground, there's no tower. Was it sitting on its engines? Was there? There's no.
They said
cradle?
It was They tried to say that North Korea's claim they used a portable missile launcher.
Where the fuck was it? Because the thing was just sitting on a big pad of dirt. Thing. It looked like some kid launched it out of his backyard, like it was one of them little $5 model rocket thingies.
It was probably straddling a pod. A shaft, and was sitting over top of it, and that's held it up.
Go look at the video. Well, I'm just saying, go look at the video because there's nothing there. There's no staff. There's no anything that to hold that missile upright until they hit the launch button. When you see it take off, it's a very clear, very well done video, and there is nothing there. It's like the thing was sitting on a big dirt pad, and then somebody hit a go button. Very interesting to see.
They're lucky it didn't fall over and blow up their own place.
I'm just, things that make you go,
But the deal is Little Kim, what he's doing right now is he's taking it to the very edge. He knows how far he can do something without a military response, and he's going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. Because here you got Trump saying, well, talk time is that. We're not talking anymore. All these other, he came out yesterday and said that, but then you got Mattis that came out today and said, oh, bullshit, we're going to keep talking. And so, you don't know
Well,
if there's
Nikki
a mixed
Haley's,
message being put out, or if the Trump administration is so fucking inept, they don't know what they're doing.
Nikki Haley's got a New World Order hand up her ass, though, that's making her lips move. So you could expect that coming from her. She's every bit as bad as the other chick that she replaced.
Well, the deal is Mattis knows how bad it's going to be if we go to war with them, and Trump still doesn't realize how bad it's going to be. And so Mattis is trying to take the high road with this, saying, "Dude, man, we don't want to go to war with these guys, man. Until they hit us first, we don't want to go to war with these guys."
They're not going to just be going to war with. I mean, even South Korea, the South Korean government said, hey, no matter what happens, even if it doesn't go nuclear, the entire peninsula of Korea is going to be destroyed.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, everybody's got a big dose of reality going on.
Well, Japan and America said their next sanctions that are going to come out are going to be oil embargo on North Korea. And, that's what caused Japan to want to attack Pearl Harbor, because we put an oil embargo on them in World War II. And so we're going to do the same thing with North Korea. We're going to cut your oil up. But the deal is China and Russia has been telling us, we don't want you, you don't want to do that.
Because of the humanitarian costs to the country.
Yep. And Russia came out today and said, they evacuated 1,500 citizens from that little 24-mile border they got with North Korea yesterday.
Right.
They pulled them all back because Russia's getting nervous, and so is China. They don't trust Trump. They're like, this dude's unstable, man. He's going to do something, and
it's not Trump.
It's not going to be.
It's not Trump. He's got an entire military cadre standing around him going, go to war, go to war, go to war, please go to war, go to war.
Well, it's hard to say because, like I said, you don't know what to believe with these guys because you got Trump saying talk time's over, and you got Mattis coming out today, and Secretary of State Tillerson and Haley both all saying dialogue has not ended. So you don't know what to believe with these guys.
It's
if
all
it's
a
some
game,
kind of carrot
dude,
stick approach, or if they're just a bunch of inept fools that don't know what's going on.
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. This country is doomed no matter what.
Oh yeah, it's doomed no matter what. And the deal is like I said, we're trying to get anybody to go to war with us first. We're trying to get Russia to throw a punch first. We're trying to get China to throw a punch. We're trying to get Iran, North Korea. We're trying to have someone just throw one punch at us so we can blame it on them.
Said that. Yep.
America doesn't want to look like the quote-unquote aggressor anymore. When we went into Afghanistan, it's because we have 9/11. We went into Iraq because of weapons of mass destruction, which was all proven bullshit. Both those wars were. And so, we don't want to look like the aggressor anymore. And it's just, so what else? They're going to try something else. Martial law over here, this Antifa stuff. Try to get it going.
Yeah.
Talking about Antifa, this came out today from the SPLC.
Oh, hang on. I'm talking about Antifa. I'm in a button mood right now for just a second. I'm talking about Antifa.
SPLC came out today and warned of turmoil and bloodshed with new map identifying Confederate monuments, cities, and middle schools.
I was playing it in the background. Go ahead.
Oh. Well, they put a map out today showing where all your monuments are, where all your Confederate cities that are named after Confederate soldiers are, where all your middle schools are named after Confederate soldiers and generals and stuff. And they put out a letter saying that all this needs to be changed, and that if our government and our state's governments don't rip down 1,500 monuments, and in every city, well, like what they say is more than 1,500 Confederate monuments stand in communities like Charlottesville with the potential to unleash more turmoil and bloodshed. Basically saying all these monuments and all this other stuff is triggering people.
They're changing
all these
history.
Confederate names and stuff, and that if we don't get rid of completely all this Confederate stuff, we're going to have a bloody civil war over.
They're changing history. This will all be everything about the Revolutionary War in this country will be erased from the history books by the time this is all said and done, so that the future generations don't know that there was a group of people that were willing to stand up for their rights and fight back. That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're
What
doing,
did
in my opinion.
What did
I don't
Trump come out and do? Trump came out and reversed Obama's policy of giving the military equipment again. Trump announced that the other day. He reversed Obama's moratorium on giving police military equipment. Trump came out and said, no, I want them to have everything the military has.
Yay, Charlie. Yeah, well, Obama said that too. He wants to have another arm of the government that's just as well funded, just as well armed as the United States military.
Yeah.
Remember?
Oh, yeah, I remember it. But, you know, there was a big stink about it, and there was a moratorium on it, and even the police admit they were, but I'm sure they were still getting it, but Trump came straight out and said, I want that moratorium off. I want the police to have everything the military has.
Mm-hmm. He's going to get it. He's going to get it. Wow, we got 5 people in chat. What's up, Charlie? You old dog, you.
What's going on, man?
How you doing, man?
Good.
All right. So we were talking about Houston. Do you want to throw in your little thoughts about Houston really quick before we move on? And then we were just talking about Lil' Kim and all the bullshit that's been going on between them. So just to catch you up.
I'm just amazed at all that water. I some of those pictures look doctored, but they're not. They're just. It's amazing. It's sad.
The before and after shot of the 610 East Freeway. When when it looks like the ocean, that's just unbelievable.
It is.
But you know it wasn't bullshit, man, because there was people from the Weather Channel out there live, and you could see the copious amounts of rain falling out of the fucking sky the entire time, and it was just, for days I was watching it online and on the TV here. This is the only time I ever turn the TV on is when some major shit's going on, just so I can keep track of what's happening live. But yeah, it was unfathomable. And having lived down there and knowing some of these areas, because I drove a record down there and I drove all over Houston, all over the Houston metro, picking up cars and towing people here and there and shit. So I know about all the places that are getting flooded and what it looks like, what it looked like back then. And just to think about it now, all being under feet of water. It's heartbreaking.
Think of all those cars that are ruined.
Yeah, wait till they start hitting eBay.
Yeah.
Slightly wet.
They will, slight water damage. This is a Harvey car. People will buy that shit just to have it sitting out there. That car was in Hurricane Harvey, man. It's coming. It's coming. All these people that are doing these big looting shots at these big box stores and whatever, all that crap's going to turn up on eBay. So, watch for it. People are going to start getting fucked, man. The water damage, some of the mold that's getting ready to start occurring after this water goes away. All these houses have been
horrible.
Yeah, up to the roof line in water. The mold's going to be off the fucking hook. There's going to be so many people getting ripped off from construction scam artists and shit trying to get their shit rebuilt because all that happened down in Katrina too. I think they said they wound up losing like $20 million worth of scam money to people that just were fly-by-nights and took the money and ran.
Mosquitoes are going to be bigger than frisbees.
Yep.
They're already big enough down there. Now you add all this to them.
It's just unbelievable. I'll bet there's going to be sinkhole problems now, with all that inundation.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, they say there's still parts of New Orleans that if you walk through certain areas of town, smells like mold and mildew still.
Speaking of Louisiana, whatever happened to that monster-ass fucking sinkhole that was down there? That was trying to
stop hearing about it.
Yeah, all of a sudden it just evaporated off of the airwaves altogether. You can't find it, even if you Google shit about it. I can't think of what the name of that place was now, but I'm trying to see if it'll jump into my face. Nope, can't get it. But anyway, what's they're getting copious amounts of water through there now too. Is that going to have any impact on that sinkhole or what's going on with that down there? Or, I just don't. It just makes me shake my head every time I think about it. Every time I see the pictures, I'm just going, I cannot believe 50 inches of water. You just think of
the massive rebuilding process it's going to take to repair those roads, to repair sewer systems, repair infrastructure. That's just going to be a massive undertaking.
Yep.
You're going to have contractors from every corner of the United States down there making all kinds of money, though.
Well, if they ever get paid. Right,
the insurance companies.
The insurance companies are going to start filing bankruptcy.
Never got paid.
I bet the insurance companies start filing bankruptcy before these people start, quit filing claims, because it's going to be into the hundreds of billions of dollars worth of damage and repairs needed. All these roads that have been inundated with water for days and days, and they're not going to be structurally sound. All these bridges that are over these waterways that are running 50 feet out of their banks, you know, they're not going to be structurally sound anymore. They're going to have to rebuild all kinds of shit.
Yeah, you can imagine what it was like in the river. Hell, the currents were so strong just right there on the little driveways into those subdivisions. People could hardly stand up.
Yep. Because it was
you've always underturned everything that is structurally built across the water.
Right. How much of that's been scoured out? How many of those, how many of those bridges have been scoured out and stuff? You know, it's just, can't even think about it, man. It's going to be.
Yeah, they showed some roads that have already collapsed, and that one bridge collapsed already. And
if this country stays afloat, it's going to be a decade before Houston's rebuilt. And that's if it doesn't get hit by another hurricane.
I was going to double that. I was going to think 15, 20 years.
It's going to take a long time.
Well, you got to think now. The petrochemical industry owns pretty much Houston, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they rebuild Port Arthur and they get all the refineries back up and running, those guys are going to be dumping a shit ton of money into Houston to get all those people back that were sinking all their money into, so it'll get done pretty quick. You know, so long as the pockets are deep when it comes to getting it rebuilt, but then they'll own the motherfucker completely outright. And that's what the feds are going to try to do, I think. The feds are going to come in there and say, we'll help you rebuild Houston, but we're staying here. It's like another occupation. Right, it's like another occupation. This is just like Yemen, motherfuckers, so just get used to it. Suck it up, buttercup. So
that's why I'm saying. We had a prediction of $2.71 a gallon and already climbed to $2.55. That's a 40-cent increase. So you can bet by this time next week they'll be banging over $3 a gallon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Unless you live outside of a refinery, you're going to be paying huge prices for gasoline. And there's over 1,500 or some reports, or I think 500 and some reports of price gouging around the area. People trying to get exorbitant amounts for water and fuel and bread and milk and whatever hell else they could find. And so yeah.
You talk about this story just now came out from the Wall Street Journal just now. It says Harvey blocks critical point of entry for cargo. It says goods once destined for Houston have wound up as far as the Bahamas and Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
It says Houston Seaport may take weeks to fully recover from Harvey. And it says rare long-term disruption in a major U.S. shipping center that will exact a financial toll on thousands of retailers and manufacturers. It says Port Houston has warned shippers it is likely to be closed at least through Saturday. U.S. Coast Guard officials say it could be weeks before large container ships and oil tankers can safely navigate the Houston ship channel leading to the port.
Yeah, imagine all that debris that's flowing down toward the ocean right now.
Oh, yeah. And it says alcohol distributor Southern Glaciers has about 1,000 shipping containers full of wine and spirits that were waylaid by the storm, with some bottles winding up in the Bahamas and others stuck on trailers and rail cars around Houston. And it says the distributor relies on Houston's port to supply supermarkets, liquor stores, and other businesses across the Midwest with imports from Europe and Australia, and it will cost up to 25% more to move them by truck or rail from the coast.
Fuck.
And it says, and then we've got Marsec here, the world's biggest shipping container carrier. Says it plans to deliver cargo it diverted to the Bahamas and Alabama later this week if Houston's port reopened. But it warned customers that even if containers arrive in Houston, it could be challenging to move them inland if railroads and highways are still flooded.
What were you going to say, Vaughn? Was that you that jumped in there?
Yeah, I use Tabasco sauce, and the last time that Katrina hit, I went down and bought 5 bottles before it got bad. That comes right out of Louisiana, and anytime they get hit hard, that affects their aging process, and you just don't get it. Now, I don't know how many people use it, but I love it.
You use Louisiana?
Tabasco sauce.
Or you use Red Hot? What brand?
Tabasco sauce.
Oh, Tabasco. Okay, I got you.
It comes from Louisiana.
Right. I got you.
And that's just like anything that's coming out of there, basically what he just said, anything coming out of those areas will be hammered and it won't be available.
Well, the seafood, I mean, that's what I was talking about earlier. The seafood industry, all those ships that got hammered, man. I mean, I can't believe how many of them are up on the shore, just like it was in Katrina. So it's going to get bad. Got to sneeze.
Well, that was a Category 4. People just seem to have forgotten how powerful that damn thing was. A Category 4 is powerful.
Yeah, they said the top sustained winds they recorded was 156 miles an hour, I think, right outside of Victoria. And that was when it was already on land almost. Damn. The eye wall. That was eye wall speeds. So, yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, if you look at the damage, everybody's watching all the water in Houston. If you look down around Victoria at all the coastal cities that got hit, all the coastal towns and stuff, the damage is like tornado damage. I mean, the buildings are ripped apart where that eye wall came on shore and just chewed up the coastline for about a day. Fuck, man. Unbelievable, man. If you watch the time lapse of how long that thing stayed on the coast dumping rain, I mean, until today, right? It's been almost, 5 days straight of nothing but rain and winds. And there was people that were saying the howling winds were making them crazy because it wouldn't stop.
Right, yeah, they were getting winds when it wasn't even raining. I mean, that was gale force winds, and then when it rained, it got worse.
Yeah.
But if you watch the Doppler on that, when that it started to form and it stopped, you can see the strikes that set that back in motion. It's almost like they were. I mean, it's so in your face, And if people would ever wake up to that, we'd have a hell of an uprising in this country.
It was like it was engineered. It was an engineered disaster. That's what I think. That's my opinion.
Well, I compared it to Sandy. I watched Sandy come off the African coast, and they get into the Atlantic and stall and sat there. Well, during that period of time, they were already predicting 7-day forecast of where it was going to landfall, and where it hit. They knew the category. They knew everything. I mean, that was programmed.
Mm-hmm.
And then to see this reoccurring, I mean, once is all right. Okay, we accept this could possibly be bullshit, but this ain't bullshit when you have it twice. No, not the way this one comes together.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Al Gore did it to show global warming's real.
Well, somebody said earlier in the room, when you got all these weather modification systems set up all over the planet, they can steer these things wherever they want to, right? I mean, they let them come up naturally. They can create them out of nowhere. I don't know, man. I've seen videos of pulses shooting across the stratosphere and shit coming out of, Antarctica and the Arctic, and I don't know, man. I don't know what to believe anymore, right? It's like we're living in a fucking dream.
Yep.
Like the Matrix. You're right, Jim. You wake up and you say, is this shit real?
Yeah. Every day.
See where those 3 cops were shot today in California? One just died.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, they were at a standoff with this dude in a hotel. And so the gunman with an assault rifle shot and killed a California sheriff's deputy and wounded 2 other officers Wednesday at a Sacramento hotel. Was later surrounded by officers searching for suspects. It says 3 people, including the man suspected of killing the deputy, were in custody, and 2 women, following a chase in a stolen car that led to the hotel. And they ended up getting, it was 2 men and a woman, and one blew away a cop, and he shot 2 other cops.
Jeez.
Dangerous job.
That shit ain't gonna stop, man. I'm telling you. But everybody, and I've seen a couple people comment on it in the room too. Since we had this total eclipse, man, shit's been going fucking nuts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they said, I think that whoever commented on that in the room said the next 7 years ought to be completely off the fucking hook because the next one's coming in 7 years. It's going to make the X across the U.S. It's like we're marked for death.
When I went out to film that eclipse, I felt like I was in a daze. I'm serious.
I would not go outside.
Filming that shit.
I would not go outside. I told everybody that I knew not to go outside either. I said, just don't. If you really want to see one that bad, you can see it online. You can, whatever. Just don't be outside during it. For some reason, Yahweh was telling me don't go outside.
Yeah, but there was no moon. He wanted me to see there was no fucking moon. Where the fuck did the moon go?
I know. I was out there before. I was out there, shortly before it happened, and I was out there after it happened, and you still couldn't see shit. I was like, so if the moon is, or if the sun's supposed to catch the moon in about, I don't know, 90 minutes or whatever the fuck it is, where's the moon right now? Oh, it's just this little sliver. That's what they try to tell everybody online. It's just this little sliver. You can't see it. Yeah, bullshit. If it was getting ready to slip in front of the sun, and they were that far apart, you'd be able to see the shadow of the moon already,
Well, I had it all on film, and like I say, I watched later. They wouldn't let me put my video up because neighbors, construction people started playing music, but I had like 40 minutes or 20 some minutes worth of that video. They wouldn't let me put it up. They apparently looked at it and said, "No fucking way, Jack."
Yeah, there was a lot of people took really, really good pictures of it, when it was full halo and all that shit. There was a picture of a plane flying in front of the eclipse, leaving the chemtrails behind, like they were proud of the chemtrails being in the picture. It's just crazy, man. What they did, and I fully believe this too, Richie from Boston said this on one of his videos, they just got 3/4 of the fucking country to look up at the sky while it was full of chemtrails and not say a goddamn thing about it.
That's right.
They were all paying attention to the moon.
You.
They were all paying attention to the eclipse. They were all looking straight through that shit like it was just a screen on the screen door. Oh, it's not even there.
Yeah, because the day before, that night, and part of that day, it cleared enough for me to catch that, but they had been chemtrailing the shit out. But you tell me,
they did here.
You say that to people, and they think you're out of your fucking mind.
They've been chemtrailing the crap out of us for days and days and days right now. I mean, it's heavy here for some reason. So, I don't know. But anyway.
My friend in Canada, he said it's rained for the last 2 or 3 days. I mean, hard, and they've been chemtrailing the hell out of it.
If you guys think that we're the only ones that are suffering some serious flooding, man, go look at China. They've been getting smoked with some serious weather over there, man.
India too.
Yeah, India too. I saw a film earlier today, a little clip of film from China. It was one of the first times anybody there had ever recorded a tornado, and it was just chewing through this fucking neighborhood, man. They said they don't have tornadoes over in China very often, but this thing was fucking chewing up the land. So, and they've been getting some serious floods and fucking earthquakes and all kinds of, yeah. So,
was it you that sent out that video of the landslide?
Yeah, that was over in China too. It smashed.
That was unbelievable.
1,200 people. Whole side of a fucking mountain shook loose and came down. Smashed 1,200 people. Unreal.
But this ain't man-made stuff, man. Somebody's trying to give us a fucking wake-up call.
Yahweh, brother, he's coming back. Whether people want to believe it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, the truth doesn't care whether or not you believe in it. But we are watching the end times unfold right in front of our faces, and we're just sitting here talking about it instead of doing something about it. Because it's, I think it's completely,
if it's God's belief, we can't change that.
Well, and I don't think that there's anything we could do to change these fucking sheep anyway. I think they have been so conditioned to just sit and take it that there's nothing you could. If you can't even look up in the sky and acknowledge chemtrails, you're pretty goddamn lost.
Well, they're not going to believe in Jesus. They're not going to believe in the Lord. They believe that they come from monkeys or some damn space alien. They're done.
Yeah,
they're his.
We're just insignificant little things on a ball floating through space. No, you're not. And if you only knew how powerful you were. If you only knew how powerful you were.
How powerful prayer is. It would amaze you. I seen a guy standing. This is serious. And a tornado was coming, and he started praying, and people around him started praying, and that tornado turned away from the island they were on. I said, "Thank you, Lord," and it was unbelievable.
Yeah, there's been all kinds of documented evidence of miracles happening. Nothing that science can explain away. Nothing that your science God can explain away. I don't know. I just at this point. And I have been this way for probably since the beginning of the year, man. At this point, I really don't give a shit anymore. I'm so tired of talking about it and tired of trying to wake people up and tired of looking at stupid fucking posts online and people that are just thick, ignorant with the way they speak to each other. And, fucking squash them, man. Squash them. Fuck it.
That's why I've been building, redoing that Sportster I've been working on and staying busy. You know, I stayed off the internet. I come back in because of the hurricane, but you know, in reality, I've been communicating people around me, and they're aware. They are totally aware of what's coming down, and they're ready for it. You know, they know that it could happen anytime. You know, this is no bullshit. You know, you're smiling today, and tomorrow you're saying, "Holy shit!" You know.
Yeah.
Take me the hell out of here now.
Let me tell you how messed up things are. You know, I live in Fargo, man. You know, it's a population of about 100,000 people, the biggest city in North Dakota. You know, we have crime up here, but not as bad as your bigger major cities, you know. But we have a little, but nothing major. You know, this girl in this apartment building, 3-story apartment building here just north of me, about 10 minutes from me north, was 8 months pregnant. This man and woman upstairs set up an elaborate plan to cut a baby out of her stomach.
I saw this. Oh my god!
You know, they baited her. The lady, they knew each other. This girl was pregnant.
This is the one they found in a plastic bag in the river.
Yeah, she lived with her mom and dad in the apartment, and the lady upstairs, she knew the guy and woman. He had a criminal past for beating a kid's skull in or something. But anyway, and the lady had 9 kids from I don't know how many fathers and had them all taken away. But she was a seamstress, or at least she tried to act like she was. But she told this girl, you're the right fig. She said, I'm sewing a wedding dress. She said, can you come up to my apartment and try it on for me? You're the right size. So the girl agreed. So she goes up there, and no one knows what really happened. But somehow 2 days later, she was reported missing by her mom and dad, and the cops went there 3 different times in 2 days, and they couldn't find any evidence of any foul play in the apartment.
She's native too, yeah.
Yeah, and so all of a sudden the cops got a call from somebody, 'cause this was on our news for a couple weeks while this was going on, and she just disappeared, and no one could figure out what the fuck. Well, all of a sudden a neighbor goes, I hear a baby crying in that apartment. So the cops go up there the 4th time, find the baby there. And they take the woman and guy in, and you know, and the girl tried to come up with the story that this girl, that they showed her how to have natural childbirth a month early, and that this girl basically went somewhere after she tried the dress on and came back to the apartment at 3 a.m. the following morning, and came to the door with the baby in her arms and just gave it to this lady.
And disappeared.
And disappeared. Well, come to find out, these 2 kayakers were going down the Red River here up north about, I'd say about 30 minutes north of me, and they found her body tied up in a plastic bag, caught up on a log, wrapped in plastic. Well, they looked, and there's an abandoned farm nearby. They found all kinds of evidence. They found a breast milk pump. They found a candy bar wrapper. They found a mattress in this old abandoned farm. They found some other stuff. The guy had said that he had come home from work, and his girlfriend said, holding this baby in his arms and cleaning up a bloody mess in the bathtub, saying, oh, you know, this is our new family now and stuff. Just crazies. But anyway, they're not saying yet, because these 2 people aren't talking. They got them in jail for conspiracy to kidnap, conspiracy to murder, and all this other stuff. $2 million bail apiece to get them out of jail. And the guy says, well, you know, I helped her clean up the bathtub. She was cleaning up blood, and my tennis shoes were bloody in my pants, and I threw them in a trash bin over where I live. And so they're just making up these fucked up stories. You know what they did to this girl.
Yep.
They either cut it out of her, or they forced her to go into labor. And why they wanted this baby, this woman was obsessed with wanting another kid after she had 9 of her own taken away.
Wonder why.
And when you see this happen in Fargo, you know shit's hit the fan when you see this happen in a town like Fargo, man. And the poor thing, I think they cut it out of this girl is what I think, and then they tossed her away like she was a piece of trash.
Has there been any autopsy on her body? I mean, was she?
No, they haven't said anything. Said yet. They're still doing DNA on the baby. They're saying the baby's hers, but they're still waiting for the DNA, which is taking forever. The city's just waiting to hear because they know it's hers.
Thanks,
but they
Captain Obvious.
Yeah, and so, but they haven't said anything about it. They said that she died violently is all they're saying right now.
They probably
these
beat her
two
to death.
people, this man and woman, will not talk.
They
Even
probably
with
beat her to
lawyers.
death and then fucking cut the baby out of her.
Yeah, they were given court-appointed lawyers, and they're still not talking. And there's coming to their cockamamie story that this girl just went up to their apartment at 3:30 in the morning and gave her this kid. And then she just happened to take off and end up in a ditch somewhere in the river with plastic wrapped around her.
Everybody say hi to Al, too. Al's been sitting here the whole show.
Hey, Al.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like I said, they should give these two people and stick them in the goddamn town square here in Fargo and let us fucking let us people deal with them.
This is where stoning comes in real handy.
They should, though. This girl was Native American. They should take these two to the reservation over here and just dump them on the reservation because when this woman was brought into court the other day for her preliminary hearing and bail setting, she was on a monitor. They didn't even bring her into the courtroom. There was all these Native American women in there, some tough-looking ones, and the way they were staring at that video screen, that girl wouldn't last a second if they got their hands on her, you know.
That's not true, Hunt. That's not true, Sandy. I know several incidences from my working records where women have died in a car wreck, pregnant, and they took the baby out and saved the baby, and the mom was already dead in the car. The baby can survive inside the womb for quite an extended period of time, longer than I ever thought possible.
What it's looking like with this breast pump found is they milked her like a cow before anything happened to her and got all kinds of breast milk from her.
They
probably
beat
just
her.
obscene, man. It makes me sick.
People.
You know, when I said beat her to death, I didn't literally mean beat her to death. I mean they probably beat her unconscious and then took the baby from her and then fucking wrapped her up in plastic and threw her in a river like
That
trash.
or they drugged her or something,
Yeah.
man. Did something. But it hasn't come out yet. But it's going to be horrible, man. And I just wish they could pick me as a juror to go to that fucking trial to one of them.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I haven't heard of either one of them. Put me on that fucking jury.
Barnum did a steak.
It just shows you what kind of fucking people, and these animals are just walking around amongst us, man.
TP.
Well, we listen to the scanner, and I guarantee you 2 to 3 times a day there's overdose in Muncie. Muncie's not a big town, and Ball State, but we have more heroin addicts in this town, and they're ODing regular. I mean, how crazy is it in the big cities? I can't even believe it's not worse.
Well, it's like I said, if it's this bad in Fargo, I can't imagine a bigger city, man. We have crime here, but there hasn't been nothing like this since I've lived here. I've lived here for almost, 29 years now, and I've never heard of nothing like this, man. The closest thing I've heard to this is this old lady got her head blown off by 5 Hispanics. That happened in the early 90s. But I've never heard of nothing like this in Fargo. I mean, it's made international news. I mean, they're reporting on it on the Daily Mail and papers out of Britain and everything else. 'Cause it's just you've heard of this before, but it's just disgusting, man. You just can't believe someone would do that.
I saw a fucking article earlier today that said that opioid overdoses in 2016 broke an all-time record in the United States. More people died due to opioid overdoses in 2016 than ever before.
Everybody was cheering because Trump wants to send more troops to Afghanistan to protect the poppy plants. Come on, guys.
Yep.
Light.
Well, on top of that, here we got this heroin addiction, opiate addiction, but what's Jeff Sessions want to crack down on weed?
Yeah, the one thing that would help them. That's why it's all by design, man. It's all by design. If Trump knew what he thinks that he knows about marijuana, because he talked a lot of shit about marijuana when he was on the trail running for president, about legalization and what's going on in Colorado and Oregon and, how much money that can be made and blah, 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 blah. Jeff Sessions wouldn't be in the position that he's in. As soon as that fucking crap would have come out of his mouth, Trump would have said, "No, you're not the right guy for the job. Sorry."
Yeah. And here you got weed a Schedule 1 drug and heroin and meth Schedule 2 drugs.
Yeah, it's this by design, man. What I saw somebody narco-terrorism. Mark Aaron said narco-terrorism in the room. That's exactly what it is, man. This is part of the thinning of the herd.
Well, you look at these two people that did that to that girl, and you got to wonder. I mean, you got to be insane to kill anybody with, and that out of the blue. I could see maybe in self-defense if it's you or them, yeah. But I mean, just to pick a girl up and make her have to give you a baby, and it had to be drugs involved in this too, or they were just batshit crazy, man.
Evil.
Or all three.
Because you can't claim insanity, man. These people weren't insane because they had picked this farm plot out. They had plotted all this way ahead of time of how they were going to do this.
Yep.
So these people weren't insane. They were smart enough to come up with some kind of elaborate scheme in their mind that they weren't going to get caught. I'm like, I just don't understand how a person can think, oh, I'm going to cut this baby out of this girl and dump her in the fucking river and not get caught. This woman's just going to walk around. I guess she was telling everybody at work, I'm fixing to be a mother. And they're like, you're not even pregnant. And she kept telling everybody, I'm fixing to have a baby. She was telling people weeks ahead of time, and people thought she was just crazy at work. So they had planned this way ahead of time. They were going to do this.
We lived in Grand Rapids out there and brought the B-1 bomber in. And I'm going to say this about people up in North Dakota. Those people will go out of their way to help you because when winter comes and you get stranded, you may spend a week or two at somebody else's house, and they're willing to take you in. And to have some crazy fuckers like he's talking about right now is not the norm. It is so unnormed, it's enough to alarm the whole damn state.
Oh, it is. This state is just shooken by this, man. People are so fucking pissed off right now, man. Everybody that I know just wants to get a hold of these two fucking people, man.
You kind of hope that they do go to prison because you know what's going to happen to that chick in prison.
Oh, I hope those Indians get a hold of her, man.
Yeah, the inmates will fucking destroy.
And where they fucked up is that they tucked this girl across state lines right across the river to Minnesota and killed her, so now they could be facing federal charges. North Dakota and Minnesota separately doesn't have the death penalty, but if they took these people over, this lady over state lines, which it looks like they did, the feds could bring in the death penalty for these two people.
Yeah. That's too good for
them. But what's good is that the death penalty's bullshit in this country. People sit on death row for fucking 40, 50 years.
Yep.
That's the problem with this country. We don't kill enough people. And I'm sorry to say that, man, but we don't. We don't execute enough fucking assholes.
And it needs to be done in the public eye as well, because this hush-hush at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's a bunch of crap, too.
Eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
We put small-scale drug offenders in prison. That's why they're all overcrowded, because of small-scale drug offenders. But when it comes to these fucking cycles, we ain't got enough room for them. So we're just going to, it's ridiculous. Like maybe if you execute some of these hardcore murderers that have been sitting in prison for 30 years, we'd have enough room.
I think I saw another stat on 2016. I was looking at some different articles today, just prepping for the show. There was another stat I think I saw, and correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows the true stat, but I think that there were more people in the United States arrested for marijuana in 2016 than for any other crime added together.
Yeah, I read that too.
And it shouldn't be a damn crime.
No. It's all about getting people wrapped up in the legal system. It's all about bleeding you dry, man, taking every fucking dime that you got and then keeping you under their thumb for the rest of your life.
I mean, some of these people in death row, and your harder convicts, they get 23 hours a day, in a cell, one day to come out to the yard for rec or fucking shower or whatever. But still, man, I mean, if you go to death row, I think if you're sentenced to death row, it should be fucking instant fucking murder.
Charlie Manson, Sandy, Charlie Manson is on death row, and he never murdered anyone.
No.
He never killed a single person in his whole life. Unbelievable.
In fact, didn't the killers walk free?
Yeah, a lot of them have been paroled. One of them
he
died.
did predict this race war coming, though.
I think one of them died. One of the girls died behind bars. I think she had a heart attack or something and died behind bars. But I know Tex has been let out of prison. He's been paroled, and he's back out in society. And the other chick that I think there was 4 of them that got arrested for the murders up there on the hill. So... But yeah, Manson never killed anybody his whole life, ever.
He knew this race war was coming, though. He wasn't off with Helter Skelter.
That's because he was a CIA dupe. If you read back into the history and shit of what was going on with the Starlight Ranch or whatever the hell the place they were at, who it belonged to, and how they were wrapped up and all. Yeah, fuck. It goes way back, way back.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't think God can come soon enough, man.
That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying for months, man. Get it over with. Let this other shoe drop, man. Get it over with. If I gotta go, I gotta go. I mean, I'm hoping that I make it through so that I can, try to spread my knowledge to other people if it's worth spreading. I hope that everything that comes out of my mouth, he puts out of my mouth. So
sometimes I wonder if this isn't hell, man.
We are living. I've said that too. Satan is ruling the earth, man. It tells you that in the Bible. Satan was put in charge of the earth for a limited period of time, and his time's not up yet. He's still in control. So if Satan's in control of the earth, what does that make earth? Hell. Well, Al doesn't believe that, but that's my belief.
I hear you. I believe it. And he can't come back. Jesus can't come back soon enough.
They're gonna wind up opening this portal with CERN or whatever the fuck they're trying to do, and truly release the demons on this planet, and then we're gonna see some really, really ugly shit, man. I mean, these people that are walking around like this couple that took this chick and cut the baby out, that's just pure evil, man. Those people, I believe, were taken over by some kind of fucking evil and made them do that. Because human nature, you have this thing inside you called a conscience, and anybody that's normal wouldn't do that. Their conscience would not allow them to do that. I've seen people smash bugs and then cry afterwards. Oh my God, I shouldn't have killed it. That's called conscience. When you don't have a conscience and you're able to do that kind of damage to another human being for fun, just to have you are taken over by some kind of evil, and damn.
Well, it's like this story here that came out in our news today too. It disgusted me. And this is over in Detroit Lakes, about 45 minutes east of me in Minnesota. It says Detroit Lakes man accused of body slamming puppy breaking its leg. It says a Detroit Lakes man is accused of body slamming a 14-week-old puppy 3 or 4 times and breaking its leg after it defecated in the house. People like that, fuck them. That dude should get hung for that, man. I don't have no people who beat innocent animals like that.
There's actually a senator that just proposed a bill that would have people that are committed, that are convicted of animal cruelty are going to face much stiffer penalties than are being allotted right now, and I hope that passes.
I do too. You kill a person, yeah, that's horrible enough, like what happened to this girl. But when you're beating innocent puppies and breaking their legs because they took a shit in the house, come on now.
I've been saying that for years and years too, man. I've anybody that kills one of my dogs, oh my, I feel for you because I'm going to come at you with everything that I got. My dogs are my kids, man. I don't have kids. I don't have children. I wasn't married long enough for, I never had a woman decide to be with me long enough to start a family because I'm an asshole.
Anybody that can kill an animal or hurt an animal just for the fuck of it, like ivory poachers in Africa killing elephants just to take their tusk and shit, I have no time for it. Those people should just be executed on the spot.
Yep.
I love animals, man. They're some of the most innocent things there are, man. And for anybody to fucking beat the shit or kill an animal for the fuck of it, I have no time for it.
I'll harvest animals to eat, but I don't just kill them for fun.
Well, yeah, I'm talking like elephants or dogs or cats or anything like that, and just killing them just because you're an idiot,
I will. I got to tell you this though. I will get rid of mice because mice are very dangerous inside your house. If they can get into wiring and cause fires and all that kind of crap. So I do run mouse traps around my place, and I don't like bugs inside my house. If they're inside, they're dead. Sorry.
Well, I got 4 cats and eat better than we do.
Yeah, I love animals. I love all my animals. I love everybody's animal that they bring over here, whether they poop on my floor or not. I just love them. I don't.
I mean, yeah, I can see if you're hungry and you out and shoot a deer, whatever. But I mean, to break a dog's fucking legs, they shit in your house, you should be fucking horsewhipped for that.
Yep. Why don't they just put his ass in a fucking pen with a bunch of hungry pit bulls?
Should do that too. It's what North Korea does.
Yep. Throw them in a hog pen with some.
In a hog, yeah. I was just gonna say, throw them in the hogs.
Throw them with the hogs because the hogs won't leave nothing. There won't be nothing left to find.
Exactly.
You know, they eat teeth and everything else. Fuck them.
Oh, I get so mad now. I'm all pissed off thinking about animal fucking beater. I can't. I love my dog, man. I'd take a bullet for my fucking dog.
Brendan said somebody just took a little cat, put it between his legs, some guy, and twisted his head off on Facebook in fucking Muncie.
on the newspaper.
Oh, on the newspaper. Can you believe that shit? They arrested him. I hope they twist his head off in jail.
Sornprater saying a girl found chopped into pieces there, and another man disappeared with calls that the federal police kidnapped him. Former president's under criminal investigation. Winning senatorial election. Let's see. 3 ministers found guilty of kidnapping humans and organ trafficking, still serving the state and not a prison sentence. Damn. See, so the corruption and shit is all over the world, man. It's not just here in the U.S. or any place that there's a government. There's corruption. Pretty much. So that's that. All right, we got like 15 minutes left. Let's talk about something different. Let's talk about preparing for what's coming. You people that are listening to me right now need to prepare in more ways than you are preparing right now, I promise you. You need to prepare yourselves mentally for the things that are coming, because we all know this little occurrence down in Houston is going to affect this country for years to come. And it's not going to be in a good way.
And we better start looking at a way of storing food and stuff where it will not be destroyed by water. Because it seems like water seems to be their game to play now.
You need to watch where you're at. You need to get places where water is not going to affect you like that. You know, we could have got in this area, I mean, it would have overtopped the dams here and stuff like that. The people downriver would have been, but where my house is located, 50 inches of rain, it might have made my ground a little weak from the saturation, but I wasn't getting washed away. I wasn't going to have water standing in my yard. It was all going to run down from where I'm at. So, but it's not just floods. I don't think they're just going to do floods all over the place. I mean, jeez. I don't know. I don't know what's coming. But they're going to let this economy go, right? I don't think they're going to do anything about the debt ceiling being touched. And they're going to let Trump go ahead and close the fucking government down, and then they're going to blame the crap on him and Harvey.
Well, they're talking about with Houston falling apart like it is in the fourth biggest place in the United States, that they'll just declare that they can't handle it and call the UN in. And that's why the Texans are pissed off. They said they'll start shooting blue hats.
There's somebody down in Texas right now that's saying that a few of these troops on these ducks that they're bringing in, all these amphibious vehicles that you've been seeing videotape of running down the interstates, and
are UN.
There are some of the troops that are in those vehicles are UN troops. Now, I don't know if they're Americans dressed up in their UN garb with their little blue hats on or whatever, but I don't know. I haven't seen any verification of that. I've just seen people talking about it. So we'll see what happens. Cryptocurrencies, Joanna, please don't go there. Man, I'm gonna warn everybody off of them right now. I'm gonna warn everybody off of them. I think that it is the biggest scam to get more money out of people in this country. Goddamn little gnats. I think it's a scam. I know that there's going to be people telling me, oh my God, there's people that I know that are making millions. Great. I hope they get out of it quick. I hope they don't leave their millions tied up in it, because I think it is a fucking scam. It's going too vertical too fast for me. These Bitcoins, all these new ICOs that are going out, and they're making $100 million in a day because they're releasing a fucking digital coin. There's just something that just makes me go, red flag, big, huge red flag. Back to preparation. You people need to get yourself prepared physically, because there might be some serious demands on your body in a disaster if it comes your way. You might have to bug out whether you want to or not. You might not have the ability to bug in. I'll bet there was a lot of people around the Houston area. Sorry, just give me 1 second, please.
Yeah.
I'm guaranteeing you there was a lot of people around the Houston area that were destined, that were bugging in. They're like, I'm on a ranch out here in Katy. I got acres and acres of fucking ground. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here until it's 3 feet underwater.
My suggestion is if you can, get out and walk. At least walk your block, walk a couple blocks, extend your walk during the daytime where it's safe or in the light hours, and get your body in shape. Because sitting on your ass driving a car or sitting behind a computer or sitting at work or even whatever the hell you do, you're not exercising your body in a proper way, and you got to get healthy enough to fucking walk somewhere because you may have to do that.
You're preaching to the choir. Hi, Jeannie. Okay, so you need to get prepared physically. You need to get prepared mentally for what's coming down the road, man. There's going to be some really horrific shit that's coming. We're getting ready to see people uncovered by these floodwaters that have been laying in their cars for a couple of days underneath feet of water that are going to be all bloated. And this might happen near you, right? There's been stories online already of people floating down the Brazos River. They were watching them float right through downtown Houston, dead bodies because people got trapped in the floodwaters. I think that was just one. That was one of the first fatalities that they found. There was a cop that drove his squad car into floodwaters and died trying to get to somebody and help him.
Yeah, he got in the wrong route. He got himself caught in danger is what he did.
Yep.
He couldn't get out.
He didn't think the floodwater was that deep going underneath that overpass, and by God, he went down to the fucking bottom. And there was other police units behind him that watched it happen and couldn't even go get him until the next day.
Yeah, the current was so strong they couldn't get in there.
Okay. So physically and mentally, you need to prepare yourself spiritually.
Yep.
Whatever your higher power is, you better get right with him because you just don't know when it's going to be your last day. You don't know. You might think you do, but you don't. And here's the last thing I want to say, and then we'll talk about something else because I want to try to end the show on a happy note if we can. You had better prepare yourselves to fight because at some point in the very near future, you are all going to have to fight. Somewhere, somehow, sometime, it's going to happen. And when you fight, you better fight like you're the third monkey on the ramp to Noah's Ark and it's starting to rain. All right. That's that.
I agree.
Okay. Now we got 9 minutes left. Let's talk about something happy. Let's end the show on something happy.
Hey, I got corn, beans, tomatoes. The harvest was pretty good this year. Neighbors had lots of tomatoes to give away. So I'll be pulling things up, turning ground up. So maybe we'll be looking for spring if we get it.
Nice.
Because we had a pretty good year.
Nice. I actually, I'm getting some little tomatoes off my tomato plants, and I've got a couple of pepper plants that made it. I haven't took any video or anything because I'm not very impressed with what I did. So if it's not impressing me, it's not going to impress you guys. So, although I could take a couple of pictures of my banana trees because I saved 2 of them and they look really good. One of them's huge. It's taller than I am. Even out of the bucket. Even if I balled it out and took it out of the dirt and set it on the ground, it's still taller than me. And that's one that I saved from freezing last year. So, yeah, it came back good. Who's that, Jeannie? That's the long-awaited return of Mr. Vaughn.
Hi, Jenny.
Vaughn finally showed back up on the show after weeks and weeks and weeks. And I thought he was giving me the big finger, but evidently he was just busy walking and working on his bike and stuff. So,
right. Yeah, guys, if you can remember, set aside some seeds if you do got to depart, because if you get somewhere you can actually grow something that's safe, you can actually grow enough to survive for the winter. You never know what's coming. But
Right.
Seeds are your touch with the Lord, and
they're easy to
you
pack
put-
too. I mean, they're easy to pack and take with you, man. You just got to throw them in a little bitty plastic bag and run. So
Yep.
they don't take up any room at all in your go bag or whatever. And that's another thing. Just back to the prepper shit for one quick second. Even I'm even starting to tell myself this now, because I'm very comfortable where I'm at, and I'm a little too comfortable where I'm at. So even if you think that you're going to bug in, be prepared to bug out, because you just
Yes.
never know. You just never know what's coming. So could be a wildfire, could be a flood, could be a meteor strike, it could be, zombie attack, I don't know, whatever. Just,
Well, not to drag this Houston thing. How many people are displaced, and how many people are going to be looking for somewhere to live? That's a hell of a lot of people, guys.
yeah, and it's going to be ongoing. I mean, this event's going to take years and years and years to recover from. I mean, it's not like all the water's gone, everybody go back home. It ain't going to be that way. The center of Houston was at least 10 feet underwater. I mean, some of the videos I saw of the Brazos River going through downtown, where it's going through all the big tall buildings, it was 3 stories deep. That's 30 feet of fucking water through downtown Houston, man. Whatever. This is going to be a decade-long event, if not longer. And Houston is not the 4th largest city in America anymore.
Oh. Well, anyway, this whole thing's a wake-up call. This is what, when people say you need to prepare, you need to be right about things, because this is a wake-up. Those people there are going to be without, and if you're still with, remember, you can be without too real quick.
Right.
That's the thing about life. It can do that to you fast.
Right.
Yeah, you could have a house fire in 1 second and lose everything.
Right.
I have a couple of friends that happened to, man. Fucking burn everything, cars, everything in the garage, lost everything.
That's why I'm glad this whole house is electric.
But the deal with these people, though, they lost their jobs, too, because a lot of their employment was wiped out, too. So these people not only lost their belongings, their house, their cars, but they lost their job, too.
Yeah, and there's how many industries just got wiped out down in Texas? How many? Because the coverage, the area of coverage was 1,000 miles, I think. So how many farms are underwater? How many businesses got flooded out? What little mom and pop grocery stores and restaurants, and it's not, because some of that's not coming back, man. It's just not going to be able to come back. So. Lori, you want to add anything in before we go? We got a couple minutes left.
Well, I could open a whole can of worms.
Go for it.
On a couple things, but we don't have time for that.
Well, you never know. We might.
But
go
yeah, people need to be ready for what's coming, and I disagree with you that we don't know what's coming. We do. It's written.
Well,
and all we have to do is read
you
it.
never know what kind of calamity is going to pop up outside your door or when. That's what I mean by we don't know what's coming.
Gotcha. Well, what's happening on a broader scale, though, is written. And if we understand what's coming, we can better prepare for it. That's why I always preach. Mindset is number one. If you're not ready to survive, you're probably not going to. Right. If you don't want to survive, you're not going to.
Right.
That being said, I think that all of your spiritual lives need to be in check and fast. I think that you can hear, and I've seen multiple accounts here recently of people hearing their instructions loud and clear and being moved to a safe place. Multiple people out of Houston. But you got to listen. You got to hear and be able to recognize his voice before you can act upon that. Mm-hmm. So your spiritual life, your mindset has to be in tune, and you all need to do that now. Second thing, skills come in before preps do.
Right.
So it's mindset, skills, and then preps. Because if you don't have skills, your preps are useless. You see all these people in Houston that, they're screwed. But guess what? If they knew how to purify water, do we need a physical, a corporate job in order to survive? No, we don't. Mm-mm. We can survive, but if we know how to forage, how to purify water, how to build a fire, all of that stuff until we can get back up on our feet.
One thing, Daniel Pratt, if you remember, he lived in Houston and he moved out. To me, he was told to get the hell out, and everything was set in place for him to get out with his boys. So
we were chosen to be here at this time for a reason. We have to trust that. We have to trust and know in our hearts that we're here for a purpose. We're not here by happenstance. What has to happen has to happen.
Everything.
We know that there's going to be a one world government. We know that there's going to be a one world monetary system. Why are we surprised when that moves in that direction?
Everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
Everything.
All according to God's purpose. He needs to get a job done. He needs to take this world back from Satan, who it was handed over to. He is the prince of the air. You know, but God has to take that back, and he has to do it by following the rules that he set in motion. Mm-hmm. He's not gonna take a shortcut. No, it has to play out exactly the way it has to play out, so that way Satan cannot come back and say, guess what? You screwed up there.
Right.
And he's doing that because he loves all of us. Even if there were one of us, he would still do it that way.
Amen.
That was awesome.
And please, don't stop loving. We have to change. We have to change the frequency to help. Here's the funny thing, is we go into life thinking that we have to survive. We individually have to survive without knowing the outcome of this life. And if we knew that we could survive and save everybody else too along with us, it can be a joint effort. Shouldn't we be doing that?
Right.
I believe that love is strong. It really is.
Stronger than anything else on this planet.
Yes.
These battles that we're facing are not physical. These battles that we are facing are spiritual. And another thing that I'll just throw in real fast and then I'll shut up. You know, I get the whole geoengineering storm thing. You know, I've worn, and I don't say this to insult anyone, but I've worn tinfoil for a long time. And I've read a lot of that kind of stuff. I have to question, though, if this is as man-made as we think it is. I think that's just possibly an excuse to give a reason for it. But things have to happen on this planet in order for us to see Christ coming back. And I think that these storms aren't just happening here. We just displaced millions of people overseas with these storms. They're happening in London. They're happening all over the world.
Yep.
And if you watch, we just came off a solar maximum. We are entering a solar minimum, and the weather patterns for that changed dramatically. And learn your history, because we are doomed to repeat it. And you will understand. Now, can they geoengineer something that's already happening with the weather itself and enhance it? 100%. Do I think that they can make a hurricane the size of Harvey themselves? Human beings? I don't know. But I think there are things
there are
things that walk among us that have more knowledge than we ever will have in this life as we know it without God's help. I'm getting ready to go visit I just lost the mounds here in Indiana. You want some fascinating reading, get into the film, get into the mounds, get into the significance of that in the end times and stuff. But we're going up here to visit that on the first day of winter. Imagine that.
The Serpent Mounds over in Ohio?
Yeah. The ones here in Indiana.
Oh, not the Serpent Mounds.
Up by our Marine friend here, up by Muncie and Anderson.
Right.
Oh, the highest point in Indiana? Is that where you're coming?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's just down the road from me, about 20 minutes, 20 miles.
Yeah. Well, start digging into that, and then get into the ghosts and all of the sightings and stuff, and how significant that is when you're around the mountain areas.
Well, let me know when you come, because we can go have lunch or something.
I think it's December 23rd.
Don't play with the energies when you're there. Don't fuck
No.
around. Don't fuck
I can't
around.
promise no one.
Go to learn, and don't fuck around with any of that bullshit. I can't stress that crap enough. There's too much evil walking around on this planet right now. Don't be fucking around
I
with
understand that,
negative
but
energy.
you have to understand I'm a child of the light.
I know.
I have powers beyond powers.
I know. Still, every day when you wake up, you need to pray for forgiveness, and you need to pray that He surrounds you with His full armor, because that's the
And
only
be-
way. That's the only way we're ever going to make it through any of this.
Be in constant communication.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit there and pray once a day or once a week or, go to mass
Talk
and
to
be
'em.
forgiven. You need to have a
Conversation
child parent. Yes, 100%.
and listen more than you talk. Listen more than you talk, and don't ask for things. Pray for things to happen. Pray for guidance to make the right decisions. Don't just sit there and say, I need this, and I need this, and I need this, and I need this, and I need this. Just pray for guidance and pray that He surrounds you with His presence and with His awe and with His armor and with His grace and love and compassion. Because we need a shit ton
we
more
have
of that.
to keep
man.
our frequency up. We cannot let that go down.
Right.
Everything is energy, and if you can, keep your frequency levels up there, you'll ward off a lot of stuff that you'd be amazed at.
Right. You create your own. You create your own surroundings. You create your own surroundings. So. Okay, we ran over just a smidgen, but that's okay.
Sorry.
Because it was worth it. No, shit, no, it was worth it. Don't be sorry. It was worth it, totally.
Well, thanks for having me back in, guys. I really appreciate it.
Hey, man, start showing up more often, too. God damn it. Don't ignore
That's
me.
her.
Don't ignore me when I try to Skype you. It says voice forwarding, so I know you knew I was typing to you. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, folks. You know how I end all this stuff. Yeah. Hi, Spring. Bye, Spring. She decided to poke in there right at the very end of the show. Thanks to everybody on the mic. I appreciate you guys every day. You don't even know it. We'll see you all next week. Thanks, David. Thanks, Lance. Thanks, Vaughn. Thanks, Lori. Thanks, Charlie, even though you didn't say a whole lot this time. Love, peace, and cookies, everybody.